And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with Bridgette, Readel, and Justin Storm. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this quiet, calm before the storm type of day. And boy, Bridgette, I can almost guarantee you probably have travel plans tomorrow because every stinking time you go somewhere, we get hit with something. So thanks a lot.
You know what, Bridgette? Instead of using the LRC, you should just tell us when you're traveling.
I am far more accurate than the LRC. I'm in my pickup, you guys, right now, but I will be home by tonight because you told me I have to be. There's a storm coming.
Absolutely. If you have this is the biggest storm of the season, probably the biggest storm we've had around here. We were looking it up, Justin. Was it 2000 or
it's been a hot minute. I think it was
1904?
11? Well, for this time,
if we get a foot of snow, the last time we've had a foot of snow in the month of April was 1904, where we had the 13 point something odd inches.
At least that's the most, yeah.
That's the most, yeah. So we'll see how it pans out, but a major winter storm heading our way. This is the strongest one of the season. Blizzard conditions. We have been upgraded to a blizzard warning for the valley. That's a winter storm warning out in Lakes Country from DL down through Fergus, and then blizzard warnings from the valley all the way out past Bismarck. So the entire state is going to get hit by this. A lot of times you'll get that narrow band of heavy snow, but this is going to encompass much of the state. So if you have any travel plans whatsoever, get those done today. There will be interstate closures. That's almost a guarantee as we head through the day on Tuesday and into Wednesday, and probably lasting into early Thursday. This is a large storm system, and yeah, this is really going to have a heavy impact on not only North Dakota, but South Dakota and western and northwestern Minnesota as well. So this is a big blizzard, and it's not that we've never had them in the month of April, but one of this magnitude. I know the one in 2000 or 97 when we had the big flood wasn't as bad. We had the rain beforehand. And then
that almost does it worse.
Yeah, but this is going to be strictly all snow. Might get some mixed precip into Lakes Country, but
so you're thinking we're going to see a lot of closures of interstates, basically shutting down the state again for at least a day?
Oh, at least a day, if not two. Yeah.
An air duct. Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody, stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Everybody, calm down.
So
get the bread and milk.
Get the bread and milk.
Get it done today.
Get anything you need done today. Get all the errands out of the way today, because again, deteriorating conditions quickly. Your morning rush tomorrow will just start getting slippery, and then by evening we'll be in full-fledged blizzard conditions, and really no travel recommended after early tomorrow morning.
Yep,
and it's going to be like that all the way through Thursday morning, even after the snow winds down Wednesday late in the day. We're still going to have some very strong winds gusting close to 50 miles an hour, blowing whatever snow is on the ground around. So it is going to be a mess, and we're looking at total snowfall in and around the FM area. Looks like now about 10, maybe up to 12 inches. As you go west of the valley, we're looking at 12 to 18. You go east into Lakes Country, about 4 to 8. So I'd say good 10 to 12 inches is a solid bet here in the FM area. And you factor in, again, 30 to 50 mile an hour winds on top of that. Travel is going to be impossible. So just
doesn't sound very fun.
No.
We'll touch on that forecast again, and if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call on that. 701-293-9000 is the Red Wing Shoes studio phone line you can reach us at. And like I said, we'll come back to that in just a moment, but a few other things that we're going to have coming up on the show today. We'll be talking about how soybean innovations can help cure cancer, as well as the Meat and Poultry Act is being introduced. So Bridgette will be coming to you later on in the show, but we have an announcement that we need to make here at Weather and Ag in Focus, and we have our president and owner, Steve Hallstrom, in the studio with us today, and he's going to be helping us make that announcement to all of you.
Well, let's think about summer, can we? Because at some point the snow will melt. We promise. We don't know. It might be July 4th, but at some point we'll get rid of this snow. Yeah, we've got a couple special guests here in the studio today for an announcement that we're really excited about. Okay, so it was a couple of months ago. I'm driving down to Minneapolis listening to Weather and Ag in Focus, which is my customary thing to do when I'm on the road because I love the show. I love the weather. I'm a farm kid, so I like all the conversation about what we're going to do with the weather and how it affects farming. And Justin was talking to Dean and Bridgette a little bit about cropland and what it costs to rent cropland and how that's gone up. And they were talking about how much land has gone up in terms of being able to buy land and all that stuff. And so Justin made a comment, and it was very innocent at the time. I'm sure he doesn't even remember it. But he said something to the effect of, wouldn't it be nice to be sitting out on a tractor plowing a field right about now?
Sure would
And
be.
yeah, exactly, right? And so my marketing mind, which is not all that great, but every once in a while I get a spark, just started jumping. I'm like, what if we got ourselves a little parcel of land for the summer and our weather and ag team could kind of go through what farmers go through. Now, we don't have land, we don't have tractors, we don't have seed, we don't know a whole lot about doing this, but there are people that do. And so made a couple of phone calls and to the couple of people that are in the studio here with me today. And we are excited to announce for you today that we are going to do some farming this summer. Yes, we have a 20-acre parcel of land just west of I-29 and 19th Avenue North up on the north side of town there. And we are going to plant 20 acres of soybeans this year with the help of a friend of mine who I've known for a long time and a successful local farmer by the name of Jim Ueland. And I called Jim and I said, okay, Jim, you're going to laugh, but I have an idea. And he laughed at me for a little bit. And he said, I might be able to help you out. I said, okay, here's the thing, Jim. I'm going to need somebody that can also provide the machinery and the know-how because we need to live vicariously through you on this thing. And he said, absolutely. So we were able to put together a little agreement between us to have him rent us some land as well as the machinery and the know-how that we need to put a crop in. And what I think is going to be really fun is that we are going to be watching the weather forecast in a different way than we typically do because it's our soybeans that we want to get rain and we don't want the pests and the weeds and all that stuff. And so we're going to go through a lot of the same things that farmers do as we do this ourselves. How do we decide what to plant? How do we cover our costs? What can we get for a good crop? And then, do we need fertilizer and chemicals and all that? Where, when should we sell? All those things we have to figure out, just like Jim and people who farm for a living do. And then after we kind of got all this, the nuts and bolts of how we did this, we thought, let's also try to do some good here out of this project and find someone that we can partner with a community focus to maybe make the world a little bit better when this is all said and done. And so I called Melissa Sobolik, the CEO at Great Plains Food Bank, and said, Melissa, what do you think? And Melissa said, let's do it. I love the idea. And so we're pleased to have Jim and Melissa both in here in the studio with us today. So Jim, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about kind of your perspective on this. And I know you had a couple of things that were rolling around in your mind about why you think this would be a good project too. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we find that people these days outside of agriculture don't understand much of what we go through as a commercial cash grain farm. They think, things just appear and, there's chemicals and people are they say they believe science, but when stuff on the farm is proven scientifically safe, majority of the population doesn't seem to agree with that anymore. So it's kind of, we believe that the consumer should be much more informed the way we are raising crops because our own families eat it. We're trying to be very safe with what we do and make it as healthy as possible. So I view this as a great chance to inform the public more about agriculture and how things are growing for their sake as well as ours.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, it's your land, it's your water, it's your the wooded areas you have, it's your land and you care very much for it too. So I'm sure you guys think a lot more about that stuff than maybe most people would think. So all those
Jim,
conversations will be fun to go through with you.
You're really spot on with that too, because coming from an urban background, I've never done farming in my life besides virtual farming that I do every single day almost. But that is a big thing. When you say that there's a misconception of how safe or proven that this is okay to do, the general public just doesn't seem to latch on to that. We've had a lot of guests on that have come on and said basically the same thing. Hey, if you're looking for information, ask a farmer. Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Yes, I'm glad to hear that from you. And that's part of the reason I wanted to do this with Steve when he brought the idea forward is because informing the public is really important. We're finding out in agriculture because there's more and more regulation coming from Washington set by people that don't live in the real world and know the real scenarios. So we view it as a great challenge where we probably were behind the 8 ball on informing the public, especially with the new technologies, with the GM products and stuff. So that's why I was kind of excited to partner with you.
Well, we're excited for your involvement, Jim, and it's going to be fun to have you kind of laughing at us maybe a little bit during the summer and teaching us a few things as well. Melissa Sobolik also here, the CEO of Great Plains Food Bank. Melissa, we couldn't think of a better community organization for this than you, who feed so many people across our community. First of all, for those that aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about Great Plains Food Bank.
Well, thank you, Steve. And the Great Plains Food Bank is the one and only food bank in the state of North Dakota, and we also serve Clay County, Minnesota. And we are serving about 300 food pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters all across the state. Last year was our second highest year ever in our history, where we reached 1 in 6 North Dakotans. So 138,000 people needed food assistance last year. And when Steve reached out with this idea, it was a no-brainer. I said, absolutely, let's be involved with it, because North Dakota is known for feeding the world and growing food to feed the world. So let's also make sure that we're taking care of our North Dakota neighbors.
Mm-hmm. And you're a farm kid yourself, so this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I was just sharing with Steve and Jim. I grew up on a farm just outside of Courtney, North Dakota, and we did wheat, sunflowers, and barley. And this is exciting. I'm even thinking about getting my hands a little dirty. And Jim, you might have someone sit out in the tractor with you.
There you go. Yeah, Melissa, this what Jim talks about of where does our food come from, I think that's something that a lot of us, it's good if we don't know to learn more, or even if we do, to get a little bit more education on that piece as well. And I think that's going to be a fun part of this project, and probably something that can fall between the cracks sometimes of, okay, where's the food coming from? Where do we get it to? But just to teach people along the way too. And so we're excited to have you and your social media team kind of help share these bits of information along the way here too.
Absolutely. It's a great education, not only about farming, but about hunger in our community, and showing that it does exist, but that by together we can actually end hunger and do something about it.
So a lot of you who are listening right now are thinking, okay, you're talking about showing, but this is a radio program. How's this going to work? Well, we think that a big part of the fun of this is going to be the video channel that we're going to be putting together this summer to chronicle the discussions, all the way from the crazy idea all the way to bringing the crop in and getting it to the elevator in the fall. And Michael Downs, who's our video coordinator, and Matt Lean, who's our social media and web coordinator, have been working behind the scenes, putting some ideas together. And so we're going to create probably a weekly episode on video where we'll be going through all these conversations. What are we going to plant? Do we need crop insurance? When do we, what time of year or what time of, the weather cycle do we plant, and all that good stuff. So you're going to be able to watch it. I think we'll even get Dean up driving a tractor. Jim said he's got two positions in the cab.
Well, you better have a booster seat. That's all I got to say. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun with this too. It's gonna be kind of like a mix of information and also kind of like a little reality TV. Hey, we're gonna start a farm.
Good humor in there, and I'm waiting for the comments to start rolling. I can't believe that guy just asked that. Is he dumb?
Yeah.
But we'll come back to this conversation. We'll kind of dive in a little bit more about how we're going to be going about this, and a little bit more about the farm, the land, how we want to do it. And if you want to join in on this conversation, give us your thoughts, feel free to do so, giving us a phone call on the Red Wing studio line here at the studio, 701-293-9000. You can also reach us via email, weather or ag, at flagfamily.com anytime during or after the show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a summer internship? If so, you are in luck. Mindak Farmers Cooperative, located in Wahpeton, North Dakota, is looking for summer interns in electrical and instrumentation, with the opportunity to expand into full-time employment. For more information, call 701-671-7777 or apply now online at mdf.coop/careers. That's mdf.coop/careers.
Hey everyone, John Adams here. I hope you'll join me on WDAY Radio for my new talk show, Talk of the Town with John Adams. Every Wednesday from 11 to noon, we'll talk about issues that affect us all in the Fargo-Moorhead community. We'll talk taxes, the diversion, places to go and things to do, and of course, bison and Viking football. We'll talk about issues that affect everyone in this great community that we call home. That's Talk of the Town with John Adams, Wednesdays at 11 on WDAY Radio.
Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let BCI Bath & Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality. Our residential bathroom solutions provide the best value on the market, and our customer service is second to none. Our cost-effective BCI Bath & Shower family of products has what you need.
Remodeling our bathroom was a big decision for us.
They didn't make a mess out of our house at all. And at the end of the day, we had a beautiful new bathroom. And it was a great experience the whole way through.
We have the best monthly payment programs in the industry, with payments as low as $68 per month or no interest, no payments for 18 months. For a limited time, be one of the first 100 callers who schedule a free in-home consultation and receive $500 off. Call 800-721-9985 for a free no-obligation price quote. That's 800-721-9985. Factory-trained and certified installers made in the USA and discounts for seniors and military. BCI Bath & Shower, the leader in affordable bathroom products. That's 800-721-9985.
Spring has sprung, and you know what that means, Fargo-Moorhead. Time to start cleaning up after old man winter. And what better way to kick off spring season than fixing or replacing your broken or damaged windshield? The team at Glass Doctor Fargo-Moorhead, they're concerned about your well-being, so hurry in. Say hello to crystal clear view of spring potholes and construction signs. And lucky you, Glass Doctor won't break the bank, so you can still buy groceries. Glass Doctor Fargo-Moorhead. Don't let those chips and cracks become a pain in your glass.
Call the Glass Doctor, we'll fix your paint.
Do you love working on cars but don't love your current job? If so, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Matthew Carlson, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. We're a family-owned full-service auto repair shop looking to hire skilled automotive technicians. With our state-of-the-art shops, great work environment with competitive pay and benefits, you'll enjoy a great job with a bigger purpose and a lot of opportunity for advancement. Visit FixItForwardAutoCare.com to apply. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
It happened. Famed legal professor Alan Dershowitz tells Newsmax that America is now a banana republic. An American president has been indicted. It's never happened before. Now Newsmax, Rob Schmidt is exposing the political attack on Donald Trump and America's laws. Tonight, Rob Schmidt looks at the secret players, including billionaire George Soros, who have been targeting Trump. Meanwhile, new documents prove the Biden family got cash from China, but the big media is ignoring the scandal. Watch Rob Schmidt tonight, 6 p.m. Central. It's the hottest show on cable. Find Newsmax on major cable systems. It's even back on DirecTV and Uverse too. Plus, get Newsmax on Roku, Samsung, Vizio, Pluto, Zumo, and more. Remember to download the Newsmax app free on your iPhone or Android and start watching anytime, anywhere. I watch Newsmax. You should too. Tell your friends and family to tune in today and watch Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax.
Hey, it's Bonnie Mastati from Bonnie and Friends. Join us weekday mornings beginning at 5. Coming up on our next show, Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki will have his eyes on the weather as another major storm is set to impact our region. Sue Barron will be in. Golden Drive Homeless Kids. The April Food Drive is underway. How can you help? And UND is hosting preschoolers. They're going to learn all about the benefits of gardening. All this and more in the next Bonnie and Friends beginning at 5 a.m. Join us.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. It's 1:25 on this afternoon. We'll be touching on that forecast again coming up here in our next segment. But before we went to break, we were talking about this new thing that we're going to be doing here at Weather and Ag in Focus. We got some land, found some equipment, found someone who's brave enough to let us use it.
We're going to be doing some farming, boy.
That's right. We're going to be farming this summer. We're going to be growing some soybeans on 20 acres. And love to hear your thoughts on this. If you want to join in on this conversation, 701-293-9000. And Bridgette, we haven't heard much from you yet. What are your thoughts on this whole project? Because me and Dean are pretty excited. Are you ready to teach a couple of greenhorns how to do some farming?
First of all equipment driving will be up to Jim until you two pass some sort of safety standard.
No. Just no one else is allowed in the field. Just give us the tractor.
I've seen some things in the parking lot that cause me great concern.
Your golf cart driving skills are better?
Could be. We'll talk about that another time. But I think this is going to be a great amount. It's going to be really educational. The fact that we get to walk through it step by step every week. What's really happening in the farm community and basing it on our own experiences. Aphids, what do you mean we have aphids? White mold, how are we going to take care of that? But most importantly, Jim is going to walk through this on a step-by-step basis with us as to what his practices are. He knows his land. He understands what needs to be done there every year in his rotation, etc. And then on the back end, we're here for you, Melissa. We're going to try to do our best to continue the strategy that farmers in the state of North Dakota feed on average 160 people besides themselves, and we want to see if we can't increase that just a little bit more.
I love that. Thank you, Bridgette. We're excited too.
You think we're going to get any record yields? Can we shoot for the record? What's the most bushels per acre on soybeans? Anyone know
Justin,
that offhand?
until you get that snow moved, you don't get to talk about record setting. First of all, I'm going to be in charge of that part.
We'll see what we can do here.
Jim, let's throw that question your way here. First of all, when do you think we're going to be in for planting? And then what would be a successful yield for that 20-acre spot there?
My guess is, our best guess, we'd be out late May this year, the way the weather's looking. And beans, up until the 1st of June, you don't really lose any yield potential. So we could still have, in our area, 50 to 55. Once in a while you'll get into 60s, but not very often. But other parts of the country, they can grow over 100 bushel soybeans. But in our area, if you get 60, it's a phenomenal crop. But
all right, let's shoot for 75 then.
That would be good. I'd welcome
really
that.
Good. You might get a couple of full-time people. We might have to switch careers if we're pulling 75 bushel soybeans.
I'll rent you more land.
There you go. Well, and Dean is calling for a little warmer and a little wetter summer than average. So
a little bit, yeah. We shouldn't have to worry about drought conditions. LRC has got us. There's one heat wave, and I believe that was in August. Extended heat wave. Other than that, temperatures look pretty close to a little bit above normal for the summer, and plenty of moisture. So I don't think we're going to be moisture starved this year. So that's good news there.
So
now
Jim,
the only thing I'm worried about is it's been a while since we've had a good old-fashioned hailstorm around here, and fingers crossed this is going to be an active severe weather season. So let's hope that it's early,
they all stay south
that it's
like
early
the
and
last
not
storms.
late. Yeah, we don't want that late season active weather. We want if we're going to get it, we're going to get it early.
When's the last time you had hail wipe out a good share crop for you, Jim?
Well, it's probably been about 30 years for me. We're not in a real
hail-prone
area.
So,
but sometimes if the hail comes early too, it can help soybeans. It'll make them knot out more and get more buds on them. So
really,
if you get it early, if it doesn't chew it completely off, it can help you.
See, that was going to lead into the question. I have two here for you. The first one on the same subject is, when is it too late in the season for a crop to withstand a hailstorm? Is there like a point in there where you get halfway, 3/4 of the way through, you get hail, that crop is done? Or like you just said, if it's early enough, it could possibly even help them in a way, depending on severity?
Generally, I'd say if it's in August, it's going to hurt you dramatically, because then a lot of the pods are on there, and if it knocks them off, there's no recovering after that time. But weather's so variable in farming. About the time you think you know something, I think I shared it with Steve. Last year we got in late May. The number one rule of thumb to get a good crop is to get in early in the year. And last year we got in late, and for us it was our best crop ever last year. So about the time I think I know something, I realize no.
So what's a good weather? What's optimal for these soybeans? They like it hot and dry, wet and temperate?
Wet and sunny.
Wet and sunny, so they like a good amount of water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially August. It doesn't affect the yield a whole lot up till till July.
Right.
But when you get in August, if it's dry, that's when you can start losing yield. If you get good moisture in August, generally you get a pretty good crop.
And Jim, I don't know if this is a silly question or not, but what's your soil type out there?
It's a Fargo clay, the field you're going to be on, so it holds a lot of moisture. But then if we get continual rain, it'll drown out a little easier too. So
I think we'll get our periodical rains throughout the year, so that'll be beneficial for them, especially. I think we'll start to dry out a tad bit around that. I don't have my calendar in front of me. I shouldn't speculate on it. There is a portion of a dry period in there, but I think that there's a good little push of rain just before that comes that should be able to at least help us get through that little dry spot.
Yeah, this soil holds a lot of water, so if you get a short-term dry spell, after a lot of moisture, it'll go a long time and not hurt the yield.
Right.
Well, you know what we say about dry periods: fewer mosquitoes. So that's not all bad.
Yeah,
it's gonna
for us town people. So Jim is like, bring on the rain. Here in town, we're like dry and hot and sunny. is good. And as we've talked about, we're going to do a lot of video work this summer, but the gang here between 1 and 2 will be talking about this each day as part of the Weather Nag and Focus show. So I'll be excited to see all that take place. Last note I have before I duck out here. Today is our announcement of the concept and the idea, and we're excited about that. Next week, our first video is going to drop talking about the idea. And if you are a local business who serves the ag community, we've got a number of ways that you can join with us to help this project and tell people about who you are on video and radio. So you can just let us know. Bridgette's email address is maybe the best one to start with. And Bridgette, if you could share a best contact, that would be great.
You can always find me, ag@flagfamily.com. Happy to check the emails and pass those questions along. Things that you want to know that we can answer right here on air.
There you go. All right. Well, Dean and Justin, Bridgette, we're going to give your show back to you here for the rest of the hour, but thank you for letting us invade your space here for a little bit today. Jim Ueland, thank you so much for your partnership and your encouragement, and it's been fun seeing the smile on your face about this idea too. So we couldn't have found a better partner. Thank you very much for being part of this.
I've got one question before you guys skate out of here. Only because I want to keep you around so we, you're a wealth of information, Steve.
Sure.
It's not like you have anything to do, right?
That's what it
Come on, we're going to keep you around for a little bit. Jim, on average, if you had to guess, how many in the population, what amount of the population has no idea? Like, hey, this is what it is like from farm to table. You say 70% that just have no clue?
Yeah, I'd say 70 or higher, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 80, because there's so few people coming off the farm now, like Steve's generation or my generation, we're the last ones where there's a lot of kids in a family.
Right.
So you got that many less people coming off the farm, and if you're not from the farm background, you're not exposed to a lot of things.
Steve's got a farm background, so he knows.
You're telling me that milk and veggies don't just generate at the store? That's not where they're from?
I'm glad you realized that.
And that chocolate milk is not from chocolate cows.
Of course it is. Where
from brown Swiss cows, yeah.
This project's already enlightened one person.
There you go.
Hey, if we can just help one person understand, that's a win for me.
And Melissa, we want to say thanks again to you and your team, and we're excited to have you on the team with us here this summer as well. Thanks very much, and thanks for all that you do to make our world a better place with what you do each day.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. We're really looking forward to this, and it's really going to be a great win-win-win for everyone.
Let's hope for a record yield.
Let's
75.
do it.
We're shooting for 75 people. All right, when we come back, we're going to be touching on a few ag topics here, one of them being, right after these commercials, soybean innovations to help cure cancer. Stay tuned. We'll tackle that next.
Does the air in your home feel stuffy? Does it have that musty smell? Have you ever noticed moisture near the corners of your floor or water seeping into your egress windows? At Precision Concrete Cutters, Ramjack North, we know firsthand the stress that the spring thaw can have on your home.
Don't wait. Contact your complete foundation experts, Precision Concrete Cutters, at 701-280-7038, or for a free estimate, and to learn more, go to pccnd.com.
Nancy Kelly Realty is here for you. We would love to show you around. Looking for the simplicity of country living? Then welcome home to Colfax Meadows in Colfax, North Dakota. An easy 25-minute drive from Fargo or Wahpeton. We have half and 1 acre lots starting at $22,500 with a 2-year tax exemption on new homes and low specials. Build your dream home, raise a family, or retire in the country. Colfax Meadows has a place for you. Find us at nancykellyrealty.com.
You've heard of the saying, out with the old and in with the new. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. Have you been hanging on to those tired old Red Wing boots that no longer give you the comfort and support that you need or deserve? Why wait? Stop in and see our certified fit specialist and get you a brand new pair of boots. Believe it or not, feet change over time. So let us use the newest technology to help you find the best fitting boots. 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo, Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
Plains Grain and Agronomy Cooperative is looking for a full-time, self-motivated, organized professional to operate and maintain their agronomy plant and grain facilities, knowledge of agricultural commodities and services, and an ability to lift 50 pounds, safely and effectively handle products when loading and offloading according to company guidelines. Plains Grain and Agronomy has a great work culture, pay, and full benefits. For more details and to apply, go online to plainsgrain.com. That's plainsgrain.com.
Republican legislators in Bismarck
aren't working for you. They want to ban books and make teaching tougher. And they want to give tax breaks to the rich. Democrats are fighting to support childcare, property tax relief, and let doctors, librarians, and teachers do their jobs. The difference is clear. The North Dakota Democratic Nonpartisan League works for you. Paid for by the Cass County Dem NPL, Christ Fastnot, Treasurer.
Dakota Valley Electric Cooperative knows it's tough out there. Please keep safety in mind as you go about clearing snow, especially when you're using heavy equipment. These big green boxes, enclosures, and transformers, they're energized with 7,200 volts of electricity. That's 30 times stronger than the voltage that powers your home or your farm shop. So please be careful to avoid damage to equipment, or even worse, catastrophic injury to yourself. Supporting safety on the air because they care are your friends at Dakota Valley Electric Cooperative.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right, but right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 1:38 right now, and a fun little conversation we just had there. But what we're going to be doing this summer, we'll be growing some soybeans, and we're shooting for records here. But as advertised, we're going to switch on gears over to an ag topic here, and we're going to let Bridgette enlighten us a little bit about this because it sounds pretty interesting. And this is soybean innovations to help cure cancer.
Well, on Friday we had our guest, Matt Gast, with the U.S. Soybean Board, and he was talking about how part of their mission is to bring forward new research projects and new uses for soybeans. And a study out of Colorado is showing that natural occurring compounds in soybeans can be used in things like squalene is the name of it, which can be used in vaccines. It's like a carrier. It's also currently used in cosmetics. Usually it's been sourced from the livers of sharks. Maybe the sharks aren't happy about it, and we should just take it out of soybeans now that we're going to have 3 soybean crush plants within the state of North Dakota. Also, with soybean oil, we can synthetically create Taxol, which is a widely used chemotherapy drug. And so if we are able to do that instead of its original origin, which was coming out of a yew tree that's soon to become endangered, this helps us out as well as for sustainability. And last project that they're looking at is a milk protein that's critical in infant development that could be added into infant formulas. So especially important if you have kids that are lactose intolerant and need to use a soy formula. Now you would be able to have an additional protein in it. So it sounds like a great plan to me.
That's super cool. Look at that. We just added 3 new things to our list that soybeans can be used for.
Which, now that we're going to be the ones raising some soybeans,
that's right.
Imagine that. We're going to have a hand in it. Which I got a couple of follow-up things, questions and so forth that I've been getting since our discussion began with our farmer, Jim Ueland. Why are we raising soybeans, right? Why was that our choice? First of all, I just want folks to understand that when we talked about doing this project with Jim, it's very difficult to just set aside 20 acres and do them completely differently from the rest of the field. Because of Jim's rotation and where he's at in it, this field was meant to be soybeans for the 2023 growing season. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We want to work very closely with Jim. So we're going to go ahead and use soybeans as our crop this year because we don't have to clean out planters, change equipment, clean sprayers as often. We can do everything in one farming pass on that field. So I think that's important for folks to know, first of all. Additionally, where are soybeans going to go? That's part of our
In the
journey going
ground.
through this summer, right? We're gonna and where do they go after we've raised them, right?
Yeah,
What's
true.
our plan going to be there? So this is an opportunity for all of us to be involved.
How many
And one of the last. Oh, go ahead.
How many city folks do you think, Bridgette, you're driving by a field, and obviously everybody knows what corn looks like, but how many do you think know what soybeans look like in a field, like driving down the interstate?
So let's go back to your corn question, because I actually had some folks with an advertising agency from Milwaukee were out here about 10 years ago, and we drove up to a wheat field, and the woman said,
Nice
well,
corn.
what is this?
Nice
and I said,
corn.
it's wheat. And she said, doesn't it get to be as tall as corn? So not everybody has that conception of what wheat looks like, much less corn. Soybean about it. If you're familiar with looking at green beans in a garden, that they're going to have some similarity, right? Soybeans a little bit taller, more of a rounded leaf. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of learning moments from people here who just don't have familiarity with it. That'll be great.
Would be really great.
Always here to teach.
That's what we do.
Whether it's weather or whether it's ag, teach them both.
That's right.
Whether it's weather, hubba.
You're lacking sleep again.
What did you just say?
You're lacking sleep again.
How many times did he just say weather? I heard it like 4 or 5 times.
Well, if you're not careful, this will be like that movie where I end everything with a meow. So which one do you want?
Did you just say meow? No, sir.
Now, hey, Bridgette, can we touch on this upcoming storm coming in real quick, and how is this going to play an impact with livestock? Because we are entering calving season, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
We're in it. We're eyeball deep in calving. We've got lambing going on and more to come, just depending on when everyone had their due date set. Okay, so we've had a lot of warning for this storm.
Right.
Just this morning in my travels, I saw people hauling hay home, setting up windbreaks. You could see cattle are getting moved around as people are planning for what they need to do, best case scenario. What's our temperatures going to be for the next couple days, guys? Are we staying in the 20s?
Yeah, we'll be in the 20s.
Okay. That's also going to help tremendously. It's when we get so terribly cold that we start freezing ears and tails, and that's a problem when you have calves going outside. That's going to be helpful. What's not helpful is after this storm, all the mud, because calves standing and lying, being belly deep in mud, that's a real opportunity for bacteria to get into their feed because it's on their moms when they lick the udders, that type of thing. And now you have the opportunity for scours, which is essentially violent diarrhea in a calf, which can literally kill them, right? It can completely dehydrate a calf. So those are things that we want to be cognizant of. Right now, folks are making as best plans as they can. Hopefully this is not like last year where we saw calves in garages and basements all over the place in western North Dakota because they ran out of room in the barn, so to speak.
So I got something I want to add on to this, and this is going back to one of our, I don't know if it was a topic or if it was something that just came up in conversation, but it came down to that changes in pressure can induce labor. And with this storm system coming in, and it's a pretty good storm system. I mean, it's going to have some pretty deep central pressure. I think the last I saw was like, 980 something millibars, something like that. And for those who don't know what that means, that's just a strong low pressure system. Do you think that might play a role in anything in causing early labor when it comes to the cattle? And if it is early labor, can that throw somebody off guard? Would that affect things on a certain degree?
So if you have a major change in pressure, there's the possibility that instead of getting 5 calves that day, maybe you get 9 or 10, right? It could just increase the amount of mama cows that decide today is the day, let's bring this calf on. And so that's a real possibility as well. We hope not to run into problems like we talked about with our vet last week, Dr. Emily Fox, when she made mention of things like you can have twins all of a sudden, or, unfortunately there can be a stillborn birth, or you may have a calf that's too big and we've got to look at a C-section. Hopefully we don't have a lot of that in the next 2 or 3 days, because with all the difficult travel we're talking about, there's not a good way to get that cow to a vet or to get the vet to the cow. Those will be difficult situations that folks will have to take care of.
Even in a situation like that, it may not be, well, it hasn't been the first time that she's had to do that, from driving through very bad weather, because you you got to get to where you have to get to. Otherwise, you're looking at the potential loss of life when it comes to some of these cattle or large animals.
Yes. And like Dr. Fox mentioned last week, she's like EMS for livestock, right?
Yep, basically.
She's trying really hard to get there. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you missed that interview, you want to go back and listen to it, you can always find it on our website, WDAYradionow.com, or even better, if you want to watch that, head over to our YouTube channel. They're all archived on there, our past live streams. We cut up all of our past interviews, our ag topics, and you can just click on the ones that tickle your fancy and watch them in a short little manner. So you can head over to Weather and Ag in Focus on Facebook, or you can also find it or on YouTube. You can also find it on Facebook or Acres TV. We're going to get updated from the American Ag Network. When we come back, we'll touch on another ag topic and any questions that you might have. Stay tuned.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time, as in spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage. N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
Real masquerade party? I think I would do it.
I would too.
Who would you go as?
I don't know.
Because you got to really do it
I
up on
can't carry
it.
that off. I'd have like a mask that you hold in your hand with sparkles
great.
on it and like a little foo-foo with feathers coming out of my head.
No.
I wouldn't look like anybody.
Somebody out there could dress you to the nines in a costume and nobody would know until you open your mouth. Of course, they'd know it was you. You know.
That's true.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
Markets remain mostly positive with crude oil sharply higher. This is the American Ag Network of Jesse Allen with this market update. Talking now with Arlen Suderman of StoneX. Arlen, as we look at the market trade, I know we're a little off the highs in grains and oilseeds, but the news about OPEC Plus and a production cut pushing crude oil up around almost $5 a barrel here today, seeming like that is giving us plenty of momentum throughout the grain and oilseed trade here today. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we had some upside momentum coming out of Friday's set of USDA reports, but that story from OPEC Plus has really added to that momentum overnight, and I'll explain why. Once OPEC said that they were going to cut production, OPEC Plus, I should say, which includes Russia and a couple other countries, once they said they were going to cut production by 1.16 million barrels per day, that brings total cuts from OPEC Plus since November to 3.66 million barrels per day. That brought a lot of analysts on Wall Street out saying we're looking at $100 crude oil being possible by summer and maybe even higher as we go deeper into the year. And suddenly the market started focusing on inflation risks once again. And funds tend to look at supply and demand fundamentals in a totally different light when you're talking about inflation risks. And so, yes, we had the positive numbers from USDA on Friday, but suddenly that drew even more attention with outside money coming in and supporting corn, soybeans, and wheat in today's early trade.
That's Arlen Suderman of StoneX. We see grain still mostly higher, led by soybeans, beef meal under moderate pressure. Meantime, mixed in livestock with cattle under pressure, led down by feeder cattle. You're listening to the American Ag Network. That's Check of the Market Trade. I'm Jesse Allen reporting.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us, because today is a hugely exciting day for myself, Bridgette Readel. I'm Ag Director, along with our meteorologist, Justin Storm, and Chief Meteorologist, Dean Wysocki. And it's exciting because, guys,
we're gonna be raising some soybeans this summer.
Did you realize how she introduced me first, too?
That's because I've been gone for a week.
Yeah, see what happens when you leave? You get demoted.
So now I'm meteorologist extraordinaire.
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, you can be extraordinary if we get less than 8 inches of snowfall in the next few days.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will be complaining if we did. That's for sure.
Let me know how it turns out. But
yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm going to slide one more ag topic in here for you guys, and that is Senators Hoeven from North Dakota, Senator Rounds from South Dakota, and Senator King from Maine have introduced what they call the New Markets for State Inspected Meat and Poultry Act. Could anybody please shorten these things up? I mean, really, that's a lot of words. But what this would be is it allows meat and poultry products that are inspected within a state who already has equal to or higher than federal inspection regulations to be able to send that meat across the state lines. So if, for instance, our friends down at Butcher's Edge in Edgeley, North Dakota, because they do get federally inspected, by meeting those guidelines in North Dakota, they could have that product shipped to other states as well. So this would actually make it a little bit easier for some of our local processors to be able to move their product around state lines. So that would be great. We'll look forward to watching how that goes. It'll be excellent.
Super cool. Should we hit on that?
It's nice to see positive things.
Oh, it definitely is. Should we hit on that forecast and current conditions out there, Clay?
Yeah, we got temperatures in the 20s across the area. Still some icy roadways north of the FM area from Hillsboro all the way up to Grand Forks. So if you're traveling north on 29, anywhere in the northern valley, looks like we still have some icy roadways up there from the freezing drizzle left over from earlier. And that will continue for the rest of the afternoon. This doesn't have anything to do with the storm system coming our way. This is well in advance of that. And then a blizzard warning goes into effect tomorrow, lasting through Thursday morning for the valley and points westward. So here's how it's going to shape up. We're going to see snow starting to develop through the southern valley by tomorrow morning. Anytime after about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll see that snow increase as we head throughout the day. And blizzard conditions will be developing as winds crank up tomorrow. Out of the northeast at 20 to 40. And we'll have temperatures stuck in the 20s tomorrow. Tomorrow night, blizzard conditions continue with periods of heavy snow, lows down into the upper teens, and blizzard warning continues with blizzard conditions on Wednesday. Snow will wind down, it looks like, by afternoon, middle to late afternoon, but those northwest winds will crank up 30 to 50. Man, that's gonna be some nasty conditions on Wednesday with highs only in the low to mid-20s. So we are looking at a full-fledged blizzard. East into Lakes Country, you're under winter storm warning from about DL down through about Fergus. And from the valley westward, blizzard warnings in effect. So about 4 to 8, it looks like, in Lakes Country. As you head towards the valley, we're looking at about, anywhere from 8, 9 inches to up to a foot, maybe 14. I'm thinking about somewhere between about 10 and 12 here in the FM area. Mm-hmm. And then a band of heavier snow just out to the west of the valley where could pick up to 16 inches of snow. Some spots, maybe even a touch more than that, depending on how the banding sets up. So we'll watch the track of this storm, because if it continues to track a little further west, and climatologically this time of the year, these storm systems tend to go a little further west than what the models are forecasting. Now, with that being said, the main storm track has been to our south with the LRC most of this winter and spring. So we'll keep a close eye. If it tracks a little further west, the snow that was in Lakes Country could push into the valley, which would mean a little less snow. But again, even a little less snow, it doesn't matter. We're still going to have blizzard conditions and very difficult to impossible travel. If you missed our midday show, Captain Newen and Jesse Johnner were on, and they said it's not a matter of if we get road closures, it's a matter of when, and it will be sometime tomorrow that they close the interstate system as that storm system approaches. And another thing, don't try and go on the country roads, because obviously if the interstate system is closed, the secondary roads aren't going to be any better. They're not. So
No.
just a good idea if you have any travel plans, errands to run, get those done today, even into early tomorrow morning. But then things go downhill. Yeah, Bridgette, yes, get everything out of the way today.
Oh, we can't hear you, Bridgette.
Can you hear me a little bit
There
better?
we go.
Okay. For all of you who are out there traveling, and because I know I've got to get to work, I've got to do these things. I understand that. But when those roads are closed
There's
and
a
you want to
reason.
come use the secondary highways, what that does is now we have volunteers who are home because their kids are home, because they are also snowed in, and they have to try to get out to try to rescue your silly self. And we'd really prefer not to put our local community volunteers at risk by having to go out. So please stay off the roads when there is no travel advised and when the roads are actually closed.
Yeah,
Please,
no
we
doubt
really
about
appreciate
it.
That.
And even if you're in town, if you're going, make sure you have a winter weather survival kit, because again, with these winds and the amount of snow coming, it's going to be difficult to impossible travel even in the city limits. So,
well, even if you get stuck in town, with just to the degree that we're expecting this to be, and with the amount of snow and wind, even in town, it could take hours for someone to get to you. Yet alone, if you're outside of town, you could be stuck in that for 24 hours easily, depending on where you're located at. And with highways and interstates closed, you get drifting across the east-south or the east-west roads. There we go. They're impassable. You can't drive through a 6-foot snowdrift. You just can't.
And make sure even and this is one of those storms that could cause power outages. So make sure you're prepared for that if you're stuck at home. Just use common sense. And if you don't have to go anywhere after tomorrow morning, don't stay put. This is going to be about a 2-day storm, but conditions will improve by Thursday, and warmer weather, if you want to call it that, by the weekend. For Easter weekend, we're looking at temperatures close to 40. Might even have some rain coming in here on Easter Sunday. And as we said, the LRC has 2 more storms from Easter onward. So please, keep an eye on the forecast on that too. Hopefully this is the last snow one. Hopefully the next 2 to follow are rain.
Got a little reminder here in the last minute that usually always gets overlooked. Take today to walk around your house, examine where your exhaust pipes are, because you don't want those to get blown in with snow, and with the amount of wind and wet snow that we're going to be getting, that's a possibility. It might be something you want to go check on every day, every 12 hours, somewhere in there. Just make sure that those pipes are cleared. You don't have a buildup of snow around them, because it's situations like this where those pipes can get clogged and you get carbon monoxide that builds up in your house.
Right.
Also, a friendly reminder, if you do run out of power and you're in your car trying to stay warm, make sure the garage door is open.
Very good.
Oh,
that sounds like common sense.
It sounds dumb,
yep.
but it happens every year where someone's in their car running
Yeah.
it with the garage door shut, and they're unknown that there's a
carbon
killer
monoxide.
gas
Yep.
that builds up in the
Yes.
vehicle.
Yep.
Well, that's going to about do it for us.
I think
right?
it will. So
Yeah.
everybody stay safe out there. As always, we'll give updates throughout the day. Tomorrow, the day after that, always looking out for you right here on Weather and Egg in Focus and all of our other programs. But that'll do it for us today. The Jay Thomas Show will be coming up here in about 6 minutes. Until then, everyone have a great rest of your afternoon.
WDAY AM.